Hey there, fellow LEGO fans and library lovers. It's me, Blair Archer, welcoming you into the Brix LEGO studio for another exciting and educational element exploration. Let's take a peek inside the LEGO idea set and see what we're going to be working on today. Oh, what's this? A bookshelf? Why, that means it must be time to explore some LEGO furniture designs. We're going to look at everything from bookshelves to beds, and even some designs from LEGO designers in some recent sets, exploring how some of our newest elements can make some really cool furniture to accessorize your LEGO lifestyle. Join me over at the building desk, and let's get started. Alright, let's take a look at building some fun and functional furniture out of LEGO. Thankfully, for this project, we won't need any construction equipment or hard hats. We'll be using our most powerful tool of all, our brains. It seems fitting that we start here in the library. The most important thing when building a bookshelf is getting it to hold your books or precious objects. Since LEGO books for minifig accessories are still rather uncommon and don't really have a lot of ways to connect them to the shelves, many builders choose to create their rows of books out of common elements like plates, tiles, or jumpers. Let's take a look at a couple different techniques for placing your books on the shelves. Here, I've used two different kinds of elements to fill the bookshelf. This is a row of tiles simply stacked in this shelf end to end. For this trick, since they remain unstable, you can use a piece of tape or a LEGO decal on the back to keep them from falling out all over the place. They don't need it, but it's really helpful and can save a lot of frustration. If you want to keep them permanently in place, you can build your shelf in a way that will help you do so. Let's dissect our shelf and take a look at the parts that make up this bookshelf. For the sides, we've used some of these bricks with this slot down the center. It gives a nice texture to the shelf. We've got some tiles on top. The top shelf here is made with a couple of jumpers, 2x2 jumper plates, so that we can place objects in the middle, but the rest of the shelf still looks nice and flat. But beneath that, you can see that I have some headlight bricks facing inwards. I've placed a stud on this headlight brick, and then I've built my stack of books starting with one plate and a 1x2 plate to cover up that connection so that it looks like they're just sitting on the shelf. If you use plates, you'll see that they don't get much space between them. But if we switch to jumper plates, because they have this little notch along the bottom, we can create an illusion of many books stacked together. So we'll look into our container here of 2x2 jumper plates, and we can take a variety of colors and place them together like so. And as you stack them up, you'll see that they start to have that nice little separation, like the edges of the books coming together. You can also spread them out just a tiny bit by putting your nail or a brick separator down the line between them and give them just a tiny extra gap so that as they sit on the shelf, it creates a more natural flow of books not being perfectly lined up. And then you can finish it off with a regular tile and completely fill your shelf. This gives a great illusion of different kinds of books sitting end to end on each shelf, and you can put different kinds of objects in the other places. You got a laptop, you can stick it down below, and you can fill these shelves with different kinds of objects to give it a feel that matches the decor of your room you're working on. Naturally, if you're looking at books, you're probably going to want a place to sit and read them. but the basic chairs that we have in the LEGO universe tend to be fairly plain, and not a lot of chairs in our homes actually sit like this on the ground. Let's look at some ways that we can get them up off the ground and make them look super cool. One of my favorite techniques is to get one of these pieces and flip it over and place a Technic half pin in the bottom with the stud facing up. Then you simply place your chair with the center tube onto that, and you have a nice little swivel chair that your minifigs can sit in and enjoy the book of their choice. Whee! Chair designs can go from simple to complex very quickly, and we'll return to touch on some more complicated chairs later in the video. As you're sitting in the chair, you're probably going to want some kind of a surface to rest your things on while you enjoy your novel or instruction manual. Let's take a look at ways to make a simple desk or table using some interesting ideas for leg design. Here I've taken two 2x6 plates and connected them with a 2x4 plate underneath. One of the simplest things you can do to build your legs is to use cylinders to create the legs for the table. You can also use mixtures of studs and cylinders to create different textures. But lately, LEGO has put out some interesting elements that allow us to create legs that are a little bit more fancy. One of these pieces that's been around for a little while is the lightsaber hilt piece. It comes in a variety of colors now, including this elegant white color, and you can connect them to the bottom just as you would a cylinder. However, they have studs on both ends. So when you're working like that, you have two choices. You can float it on your build, just setting it on the ground, and it will be free to move around. Or when you're using a piece like this that has studs on either end, you can use a 2x2 tile with an open hole in the middle and create a footing for it. So each one of your legs could drop into these pieces as it connects to the ground, so that you have a stable place to use for your table, and it won't move around inside your build. Another really cool example of one of these kinds of parts is this new piece that came in the Monkey Kid sets, and it is a little bit longer. It comes in this lovely lacquered gold color, and it makes for really, really cool table legs, which again have studs on either end so that you can connect it to the ground with the tiles, or you can leave it standing like that. Another fun piece that you can use instead are these little spyglass elements, which have a stud on one end and an anti-stud on the other. These ones will not require you to switch over to a tile with a hole in it when you implement those as your legs. They are just a tiny bit shorter than the gold ones, but you'll be able to build directly onto the ground and have a stable build. Now that we have a table and chair, we should take a look at different ways to build some lighting so that we can actually see the books. Here's a variety of simple but elegant lamp designs that can be used to convey lighting for different kinds of situations. Each one of them has a bar element that runs through the middle. This first one on the left uses the 1x1 round plate with open stud, a short 3-long bar going into a 2x2 dish. And I put a stud on top here to keep it from sliding through. Makes for a very nice little desk or bedside table lamp. This medium one here is even simpler. It just uses this antenna piece going into a 3x3 dish, stuck directly into the top. There's also this floor lamp, which uses the 2x2 base with this long bar element that actually has a stud on top. And on this one I've put a 1x1 round plate in trans yellow to emulate a light bulb, and this really pretty lampshade, which is this 3x3 round dish that's printed. And then for something a little bit more fancy, I designed this one similar to the first, using the 1x1 round plate with open stud and a 3-long bar, but I've used some new elements here at the top. So I've used another round plate with open stud, this frilly neck piece from a Shakespearean minifigure, sometimes on the clowns as well, and this cool truncated cone piece. It's like a little fez piece, and that slips onto the top and creates this slightly fancy little lamp that will stick here on the corner of our desk and give a nice little book to match there. If we take a look inside the LEGO Ideas Sesame Street building, we can see some really cool new techniques used to create some awesome indoor furniture. Here we have some beds designed using some of the new slopes. These are the 1x2 slopes that are like a quarter round type piece. Really helps give the sense of nice, soft, pillowy cushions and bedspreads over the top of the bed, as opposed to some of the older Lego beds that had just a flat tile, looked pretty rigid. And they're using some snout bricks, the studs not on top bricks that are shorter like plates, in order to attach these lovely head and footboards here. What excited me the most, though, were some of these chair designs, using these pentagonal tiles here on the back to create this very fancy cushion pattern, as well as the various snot brick attachments and these bow shapes. You get these awesome, comfy, cushy chairs. What's really nice is that now LEGO has a wider variety of these inverted slopes, using this 2x2 inverted slope underneath and these rounded elements. We created these very soft looking arms for the chairs that come up from underneath. As we come around the corner, you'll see yet another comfy chair here, and this footstool, which uses one of the inkwell elements into a 2x2 round tile, and then the 2x2 round inverted tile on the bottom, but now situated as the top of this footstool, which looks really nice and soft in front of this lovely chair here. Again, using lots of different pieces to get a complicated but very smooth shape all around. And a lovely little television, which of course uses a sticker. Lots of different ways to create televisions by having elements upon other elements. We've got these axle elements on this 2x2 plate with the pin coming up to create the back of this television from the LEGO Friends line. And one thing I really liked was out in front of this building in Sesame Street, we have the new 3x3 tile, which they put this lovely little tablecloth sticker on top of this older element that was often used to create tables. But we never had this size tile until this year, and it's just such a cool piece and the perfect size for an outside seating table. But they also used these new pieces to create a fancy base for the common Lego chair. These are the half circle bricks. So they're a rounded 1x2 brick, and they have this hollow center, and they put 2 of them on the bottom and gave the chair this really nice legged appearance. Just adds a little bit of complexity, and your eye really gets drawn into these as the legs of the chair. I thought that was really cool. Before we go, I wanted to check back in with Robo Emmett over here in the library and show you a couple more models that I've worked on over the last year. These 2 pieces of furniture are out of minifigure scale, and they're slightly larger. They were created for a little diorama of an adventurer's desk. It's more than meets the eye, however. As you can see, I've used this castle door for the top of my desk and filled it up with all kinds of interesting treasures. But being a fan of fantasy role-playing games, I've hidden a little extra secret within the desk. The fact that it itself is a creature. Like a mimic or a sort of haunted treasure chest creature, this desk protects its treasures by being a living beast in of itself. The chair that accompanies it is also able to transform and has these fun tentacle arms and grabber claws that come out to defend these trinkets against would-be plunderers. This chair, you can see I've built on a little rolly base by using this cool ship steering element at the bottom, this 4-prong Technic piece with these Technic balls to pretend that they are rolling wheels. And this desk has some really cool leg techniques where, since it's built upside down, I've used a couple of these 1x2 rounded plates with open holes, and then these cattle horn elements going into, again, that inkwell piece to create some legs that have this fun, organic, and sort of dainty nature. Hopefully some of the techniques we've looked at today inspire you to go on and create your own fantastic models. Awesome! Well, thanks so much for joining me here in the Brix studio today, working on everything from comfy couches to creepy creatures in the world of Lego furniture. Remember, anything you make is always going to be amazing, but if you have any questions about special techniques or certain parts that are giving you trouble, feel free to reach out and contact us through our Facebook page or Instagram. Until next time, hit those bricks and play well. Bye!